Hi everyone, hard to believe we're already in week 14, and this is the week that you will be turning in your final draft of your reader's guide to me. Um, so on Friday you should have done the final peer review of the reader's guide with your group, and this Monday you are working on proofreading and editing your own reader's guide so that you can submit it on Wednesday. So let me just talk about how you'll submit that. And I have a few things to do before you submit. Again, this is part of what you did on Friday with looking over the checklist and my comments. So you will need to save your Google Doc as a PDF. Once you do this, you cannot make any more changes to it. So make sure you have it all complete the way you want it before you download it as a PDF, and you're saving it as your first and last name and reader's guide, and then you're uploading that to the assignment. And you can review my grading criteria here for the reader's guide. On Monday, I want you to start looking at the portfolio assignment. So the portfolio is going to be due, if we look ahead, on the last day of classes, which is April 29th, so in 2 weeks. The portfolio is our final in the class, so we do not have a final test. Instead, we are spending the last couple weeks of the course working on the portfolio. So for Monday, I would like you to just simply read over the portfolio assignment. And you'll see that on Friday, you are turning in the first of 2 portfolio checks. So these portfolio checks are meant to keep you on task so you're not working on this the night before it's due, but that you have drafted it well in advance. So the portfolio assignment follows some of the expectations of portfolios for any discipline, in which you are choosing from your own work to highlight and discussing and placing in context that work. So you have a lot of freedom in deciding what of your work you want to talk about from the course. And there are basically 4 parts of the portfolio that will guide you through that process. Okay, so you want to think about contextualizing the assignments that you discuss for readers outside of our class. Okay, so you want to imagine that whoever is reading your reader's guide, they don't have the context of the course. You would want to maybe explain things a little more for them. So the reader's guide, the reader's guide, the portfolio is, the total word count will be between 1,300 and 1,500 words broken up over these sections. Okay, so you will see the term artifacts. This is a really important term in many different kinds of portfolios, and that term basically means pieces of your work that you are using as evidence. So you're going to be discussing different concepts in the class, and you will use your own work as evidence, as an example to discuss that particular idea about writing or research. So that term artifacts, you can just think of it as any piece of your own writing that you are pulling from the coursework. That could be, even something as small as a comment on someone else's draft to your entire reader's guide is an artifact. So any work that you have done. So just keep that in mind when you hear that term, artifact. So I'm going to scroll down here. I have listed these terms. Most of them are concepts that we have touched on in the class. Okay, so these are things that you might use to discuss your own work. Sometimes it can be hard to write about writing, and these terms can help you give a name to certain things that you were doing in the class. All right, so portfolio introduction. This is going to be a Google Doc as well, so it's pretty straightforward. And you'll see that for Friday, you'll be setting up that Google Doc. So you'll have a portfolio introduction and then a coursework reflection. And you're going to discuss 2 assignments or pieces of writing in the course that help you the most and explain why, and then 2 pieces of writing or assignments that you're most proud of and why. You're going to add the artifacts, so the assignments, to the appendix, which I'll discuss in a minute. So you're basically going to either copy and paste the entire assignment into the appendix or a link to the assignment. Another section is the reflection on yourself as a writer. So this one you have 8 questions to choose from. These bullet points are things to help you answer each of those questions or prompts. And so you choose 3 of the 8. And then you'll also need to incorporate 3 artifacts or examples from your work. So you'll have 1 artifact per question. So these you're going to actually incorporate into your questions rather than putting them in the appendix. So this is a way of practicing another way of doing portfolios, which is embedding the artifact into your text so that it's alongside what you're explaining. So you'll do this by creating a screenshot and incorporating that into your response. So for example, with this if you chose this first question, discuss your identity as a writer. How has your work in the course impacted your identity as a writer, etc. So you would choose a piece of your writing that you thought helped answer that question for you. So maybe there was a particular assignment that you did that you think can show some aspect of these questions. You would screenshot just the part of that assignment that you would be discussing. So maybe it's a few sentences, maybe it's a paragraph, but you usually do not screenshot an entire long assignment for this part of the portfolio. So really narrow your focus for your screenshots. And there are instructions up above about how to do a screenshot if you are not sure. And then you have the portfolio conclusion, which is pretty straightforward. Okay, so again, you have these 4 parts, and all of this front material is meant to help you with screenshots and also with some vocabulary that you could use. And let me go ahead here. Okay, so I also have some sample student portfolios for you to look at as well. These students had slightly different assignments than you, but the general idea of what they were trying to accomplish and the way that they're discussing their work in the portfolio is very similar to what you will be doing. So for Friday, you're turning in portfolio check 1. And again, this is meant to get you going on this portfolio so you're not doing it last minute. So the first thing that is important for this first portfolio check is to start the Google Doc and just build the structure of it. So you're going to do it in your group Google folder, and you'll want to have it your first and last name and Words portfolio, and then follow these instructions for the different sections. For headings, and then you're going to do a draft of the coursework reflection. Okay, so we leave the introduction and the conclusion for later on because you want to write these we're going to do these main sections first, so that then you'll even know, you wouldn't know what to say in your introduction until you'd written the main body of the portfolio. Okay, so for the coursework reflection, please refer back to the portfolio assignment for those instructions, and you will include full drafts or links to full drafts of the assignments that you discuss in the appendix. So again, the appendix is meant to house the 4 assignments that you discuss in that part. And then for this part, you are doing screenshots. Okay, so that's it for this week. We're going to wrap up the reader's guide and get started on the portfolio. Please let me know if you have any questions. As always, you all are doing a great job. You are almost done. Keep doing what you're doing.